I'm David McDonald, and I'm an attorney with the Mountain States Legal Foundation, here to talk to you about a case that we filed called Rayco v. Barnhart. Our client in the case, Rayco LLC, is a small family company owned by the Ray family in order to operate the Sima Cinder Mine, which is the family mine located out in the Mojave Desert, about a couple hours southwest of Vegas. I had an opportunity to go visit the mine and visit with the Ray family back in October to sort of get a chance to meet the family and try to see with my own eyes what exactly happened. And it was really eye-opening. So we drove out there in the middle of the desert. You have to go pretty far off the main drag. There's a dirt road that's washed out. You have to take a four-wheel drive out into the middle of the desert, and there it is. And I was struck by how much like an old ghost town it looks. If you've ever been to Calico or one of those other old ghost towns, it looked like that, even though this was a running, profitable mine only 20, 30 years ago. And it's been completely destroyed and run down and decayed because of the government's inaction that has made it impossible for this family to work their land. And the line that'll stick with me forever, Monty told me as we were leaving, we were looking at the scrap metal and the trash and the washed out road that hasn't been well maintained. And he said, they kicked us out of here because they wanted to make this national preserve. Does this look preserved to you?
Okay, I'm Connie Ray. I'm the daughter-in-law of Fay and Emerson Ray for the last 58 years. The sacrifices they made to mine out in the desert and the hardships that they went to are incredible and mean a lot to this family and the legacy that they have left to all of us and the wonderful fun that my children had from the time they were a year old and up.
The equipment's gone to pot. People have shot things up. There's bullet holes and broken glass in cars. And I was about ready to give up, but my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren didn't think we should give up too easy. So we got first half of final certificate before Clinton was elected. And then when Babbitt got in, he stopped all the patents for a long period of time. Then he was told by Congress to start issuing. Eventually they did, but ours at SEMA never came through, and now we've waited for years for it. They shut us down about as soon as they completed the mineral report, which was about 7 years longer to do than it should have been, because they kept going back and redoing it and redoing it and redoing it. And mainly they're just holding us off, waiting for my parents to die. Now they're waiting for me to die. And
you're not going to do that.
Unfortunately, maybe for me, but my children maybe can realize some, because that was kind of their heritage of growing up in that area.
We filed a petition for writ of mandamus. And that's just a fancy way of saying that we filed a complaint in federal court asking the judge to order the federal government to take the actions it's legally required to take anyway. The United States began as this small little sliver of land on the eastern coast. As we all learned in school, we spread west from sea to shining sea. Now, part of that spread west was encouraging people to travel from their safe homes on the coast to be pioneers, to go out there and create this country that we now have. All federal lands are presumptively open to mining. Anyone in America can go out today, walk out onto federal land that's not otherwise accounted for as part of a national park or something. You can go out there and you can literally stake a claim with 4 stakes and a piece of paper and a hammer, and you can mine that claim. And that's a real property right that you have that you can protect against other claim jumpers, and it gives you certain rights. but you don't actually own the land. You're only leasing it from the federal government to allow you to mine. For this reason, a lot of miners would try to protect their rights by applying for a mineral patent. And like a patent that you're familiar with in the sort of technological realm, a mineral patent is the same thing. It provides a monopoly on that land. So an owner of a patented mining claim owns the land full out, completely, forever. So the Ray family back in the 80s decided that it would probably be a good idea to patent their claim that they'd been mining for 40 years by that point. They were concerned that there was growing hostility to mining in Washington, and they wanted to protect the family legacy. So they filed for a patent in 1991. They completed everything they were supposed to complete. They submitted it. They paid full purchase price for their patent in 1992. But what happened in 1994 was Congress passed a law which put an indefinite moratorium on the issuance of all new mineral patents. They recognized that there are people that have already put a lot of time and effort and money into getting a patent, so they would grandfather those people in, anyone who had completed a patent by that date. The Rays were one of those people. Their patents were included in this. They paid for it in 1992. They applied for it in 1991. The government has been sitting on this application for nearly 28 years without giving a final determination. So I think all of us can relate to a time when you were stuck on hold on the phone with, maybe it's your insurance company, maybe it's the VA, maybe it's some other bureaucracy. You're on the phone for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock, they cut you off, you wasted your entire afternoon. Imagine that, but imagine it happening for nearly 3 decades. That's what's happened to the Ray family here. They filed their application in 1991. They played by the rules. They did their part. It's time for the federal government to do theirs. And part of the problem here is that the Rays weren't denied a patent. If anything, being denied would have been significantly better for them, because when you're denied something, you can appeal. There's an option. There are due process guarantees in place in America where if the BLM had denied their patent application, they could have gone to a court and said, we don't think this is right, we want you to review this. That's not an option in this case because the government has not granted, but it has not denied. It has sat there for decades, not moving, and the Rays are stuck in this bureaucratic purgatory where not only do they not get the patent they're entitled to, they don't even get to challenge not getting the patent they're entitled to. So until finally get to this point where the delay is so egregious that I think we'll be able to convince a court that it's illegal and unreasonable. Seema cinder mine is, as the name may indicate, a volcanic cinder mine. Volcanic cinders have been used for decades in anything from building cinder blocks to use in insulation to use as a fertilizer additive to any number of other construction or industrial purposes. You probably have some sort of landscape cinder in your yard as we're speaking. The Ray family worked this mine from 1948 through 1999, occasionally leasing it out to other people, but they always owned it. It was always a family-owned operation, and from 1990 to 1999, it was owned and operated by the Ray family until the National Park Service shut them down because of the BLM's inaction.
Our cinders and what we have can really help in many, many ways, many, many businesses, and it can help the economy of California, the economy of where we live, and make life better, I think, for a lot of people. Make employment. We can employ people because a lot of people think, oh, miner, you must be bad. No, we're a family, and it was our family that actually, through blood, sweat, and tears, I will say that, and a lot of fun. I mean, from the time we were little kids, we'd go there, and we'd have fun, spend time, family time. We were all in it together. You know, sometimes there was horses on the property. People would ride horses. My mom had a horse. My aunts had a horse. And, you know, it was just a fun family legacy business. And I would love to see that happen again, where it's an alive area, not a broken down, abandoned mine like it is now, because they took it away and then neglected to take care of it.
The family's been working this mine since 1948. 4 generations of the Ray family have been out there. And over time, it's become more than just a business asset. It really has become a home, almost a member of the family itself. Talking to members of the family, you can see visiting the mine. When I went out there, there was an old rusted out car. It was full of bullet holes and a rat's nest. But this was the car that Monte Ray taught his children how to drive in. And so I was there and I was struck by just the memories that these people had walking through this, what looks like a bombed out area now that's been basically destroyed by time and by trespassers and by the elements. And it's very tragic how much of the family legacy has been lost and how much of the memories have been lost. Because this isn't just about economically grabbing rock out of the ground and moving it somewhere else. This is a way of life. This is the family legacy. They've been working here for generations. And the government, through the government's inaction, an entire family's legacy has been tarnished, and it's very unfortunate. Eventually, both Fay and Emerson, unfortunately, passed away before we were able to resolve this issue. And so now their son, Monte, has taken up the mantle and trying to lead this fight. And really what he's concerned about is that he might not be here to see the resolution. So we're fighting to make sure that we don't lose another generation of Rays to this fight with the government.